Well, hello, and welcome to that thing we like to call Curless Mania, where we talk all things pop, rock, and frog. Today is an interesting day, and I am so excited to have Peter Kerr from Rock Daydream Nation back on the channel. Peter, how are you today?
Doing well. Glad to be back. Good to see you, Tom. How are you going?
I'm going very well. As I told you earlier, I am in a different location. I am up north in Michigan on vacation, but I could not pass up the opportunity to chat with you because I always really enjoy our episodes together. So I know this worked out for you, so I was like, we're doing it, we're doing it. So I'm happy to be talking Humble Pie today. So.
Absolutely, absolutely, and a band that needs to be spoken about.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I've always thought that Humble Pie was one of the most underrated bands in the sort of hard rock canon. Like, I just don't understand why. I mean, I think music diehards know who they are and they're familiar, but I think the general public is kind of like you say Humble Pie and they're like, "Oh, who? What?" It's like, "Really? You don't
Yeah,
know who Humble Pie is?"
yeah, it's a bit bizarre, isn't it? Really, because they should have that recognition. People probably have heard of the name Steve Marriott. They've probably heard of the name Peter Frampton. Well, definitely Peter
Yeah.
Frampton,
Yeah.
but Humble Pie maybe. But it should be much more recognised in
Yes.
classic rock.
Yes. So what I always ask this question first. So what was your first exposure to Humble Pie? Uh did you hear something from did somebody introduce you to the band? Did you get like a greatest hits? Like what was your first exposure to Humble Pie?
I think through Peter Frampton,
Okay.
Frampton comes alive and just exploring his catalogue and who he has been with, and also the faces. I mean, the small faces with
Yes.
Marriott.
Hmm.
So, just probably curiosity had led me here. But wow, it's such a diverse band, and they cross a couple of different types of music, which we'll talk about through these two albums that we're putting a
Yes.
spotlight on.
Yes. I
But
mean,
it was more curiosity. It was more the curiosity,
so sort of following the
exploring the
breadcrumbs kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so then no, that's great. And on Frampton Comes Alive, I mean, Shine On is a Humble Pie song. So you kind of you can, you make that connection. Um so yeah. But no, we are here. That's what we're here to do today. We are here to talk we're doing another battle. We are here to talk about two seminal Humble Pie records. Rock On from 1971 versus Smokin' from 1972. I am away from my home, so I don't have the records to show, but I will be putting post production. We'll be putting the record covers up there. But yeah, that's what we're here to do. So yeah, really, I think that these two records are, it's interesting because it's one, as we mentioned, Peter Frampton's in the band and was a founding member of this band. And this is interesting because this is the last record that he's on. Rock On is the last studio record that he appears on, and then Smokin' is kind of the first album without him. So, and then there's a huge live album called Rock in the Fillmore between these, which was Rock in the Fillmore was sort of the album that put them on the map in the US, I think. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, live albums were just gangbusters in the 70s, weren't they?
oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that was one of the big first big like double live albums that sold well at the time. And I think it really did put them on the map because it showed them sort of unhinged a little bit, where like Steve is really just hitting the vocals hard and they're showing their guitar skills, they have the dual guitar thing going on that record, and it's just like, oh my God, like wow. It's really impressive.
And then, Smokin' was probably their biggest charting success in America, went top 10. So definitely off the platform of that live album, they generated a bit of heat.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, so let's jump into Rock On. So Rock On, I'll just do a quick rundown. Rock On was their fourth studio record, so they were well into their career by this point. Released March 1971. They recorded it at Olympic Studios in London with Glyn Johns as the producer, very famous producer. Um, it reached number 118 on the Billboard 200, so it didn't smoke, it didn't rise up the charts or anything like that. Because it just shows you that by even when they made this record, they were still not a big band yet. It's their last studio LP, as we mentioned, with Peter Frampton on guitar and vocals. Uh, it's so most of these songs were played live before they were recorded, which I think was an interesting caveat that we can kind of get into more. Um, and generally a heavier, I guess would say, album for them. Like as if you follow their career, every album got a little bit heavier. And I think that they had an American manager called D. Anthony, and he used to tell them, "Hey boys, you got to rock out. Like rock. You're really good when you rock hard. You need to rock. You need to get Steve on vocals, wailing the vocals, and doing the hard rock, and that's how you're going to succeed." And I think that he kept pushing him in that direction. So, what do you? Yeah. So
Do you think a band that was called Led Zeppelin might have had something to do with that?
I think so. I think absolutely so. Yes.
Because they threw the template out of hard rock and inspired lots of bands to up their game and put turn their amps to 11. So I think that's this album was definitely listening to a bit of Led Zeppelin. Let's get the blues, like traditional blues, and amplify it and just ramp it up.
Yeah, and one of your favorites, Deep Purple, was another band that was early on the hard rock thing, that was doing well at the time, doing very well. Yeah,
Well, In Rock was a reaction to Led Zeppelin 1.
yes,
So
yes,
Richie heard that and he said, "This is what I want to play." So
yeah,
bye bye Rod Evans and Nick Simper, and
yeah,
in comes Ian Gillan and Roger Glover.
yes, and
So
didn't he say to John Lord, "Yeah, this is great, all this symphony stuff you're doing, but like, let's go hard rock. I want to go hard rock." Was that fair to say?
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. But I think this Humble Pie album is definitely listening to Led Zeppelin and
yeah.
using that as the template and putting it through their sound.
Yeah, no, and I think that, to an extent, they're sort of playing to their strengths too. I mean, well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, I don't think Peter felt that way. I think Peter still liked his acoustic, introspective, folky songs, and I think that this is we'll get more into this, but I think that was the start of the divide because he saw the way the ship was going, and he was like, I don't know if I want to go that way. I mean, I like that, but I don't want to go that there 100%. I would still like to have my acoustic songs and stuff on there. And I think he was seeing that that wasn't going to happen anymore. So
Yeah, well, it's his last album, so that's
yeah.
that's a fair call. That's a fair assumption.
Yeah, I think he says because I did read his book, and I think in his book he did say that he just said he could feel the whole band kind of going in that direction, and that's the way. And Steve was getting more and more as a front man, as he is. He's a great front man, and that's what D was saying. Hey, you're a great front man. Be a front man and lead the band. And I think that he started to lead it more and more and more because originally it was Peter's band. There's a long story behind it, but originally it was Peter's band that Steve helped put together, and then Steve left the Small Faces and joined Humble Pie. So it was kind of like this democratic. It started as this very democratic band, and it started to change. Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't Frampton? Didn't Steve try to get Frampton into the Small Faces, and they had a jam session together, and that created some tension. Hence, Humble Pie was the genesis of that. So
That's
I think
exactly
Steve
right.
wanted to bring Peter into the band, but it just didn't work out.
Yes, no, that's exactly right. You're right. You're absolutely right. They did. He tried to hear him into Small Faces, and they wanted nothing to do with it. Ian McLagan, and the others were like, no, that's not going to happen. So, so I think Steve started to get more and more annoyed that why, come on, why not? Um, so yeah, so back to Rock On. So how do you feel about this record? I feel like this record might be the first one where they're sort of coming into their own in a way. What's your take on Rock On?
Well, I find Humble Pie as a combination between Led Zeppelin and Exile and Main Street Rolling Stones.
Yes.
It's got
Yes.
that mix of the hard rock and, sort of amplifying the American blues with that gospel sound that was explored through those early 70s, the Mick Taylor era of the Rolling Stones.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I mean, talking about the first track, "Shine On," it's got that R&B, and you've got the gospel chorus, and you've got the Soul Sisters, which is P. Arnold, Claudia Lanier, who
Yeah.
were Ike and Tina Turner Ikettes, and
Yes.
Doris Troy. So you've
Mhm.
got that game, you've got soul, that soul game in the track, and Marriott's R&B organ is just so predominant. And
Yes. Right.
I mean,
Right.
even if it's not the most punchiest bubble out of the speaker type of song to start it off with, but it
Mhm.
certainly does define the sound of Humble Pie and what you can expect with the rest of the album. What do you
Yes.
think of this song?
Oh, I love Shine On, and you're right. It has it's got that Frampton feel to it. It's got that Frampton writing, but it feels like Steve kind of came in with hey, let's do the gospel, like you said, the gospel chorus. That you can't when I think of the song, I always think of the shine, they just have that bit, and that's what the R&B element is what Steve wanted to bring to the band. And like you said, you're right. It really reeks of Exile on Main Street Stones. Uh, that gospel feel, like Shine a Light or something like that.
Absolutely. And interesting, let's look at the timing of those two albums and that era. So, is one listening to the other or vice versa? I'm sure everyone's listening to everyone in that era. So, I'm
Mhm.
sure there's a little bit of influence,
Oh,
cross
for sure.
pollination.
For sure, for sure. Yeah. No, I love Shine On. I think it's an a great opener. And it's interesting that he does. I mean, what do you think? Do you think the Frampton Comes Alive version is better than the studio version?
I like the studio version. I
Yeah.
have some issues about the live album, maybe for another show. But I think live albums in the 70s are about probably it depends on the scale of how live a lot of these live albums were, if you know what I mean. There's a
Yes.
lot of studio trickery. I don't think it was as raw as people sort of. There's an illusion.
Yes. Yes. So what do you believe are the other standouts on Rock On? Like when you think about that album, what are the other standouts for you?
I like Sour Grain.
Yes.
It kind
Yes.
of reminds me a little bit of Rick Danko, the band, a little bit.
Oh,
It's got
interesting. I didn't think about that.
yeah, just the
Yeah.
guitar work and just the approach. Tasty guitar work from Peter Frampton. It's got there's a lot of wah on this album, and I like how Marriott leads out on the voice. And I don't know whether Frampton's harmonizing with him or it's double tracking, but there's a lot of vocal weaving and harmonies. And as Paul Stanley, who's a huge Steve Marriott fan, and we might
Mhm.
talk more about Kiss as we go through the show,
Yeah.
says that Steve Marriott's in his full rock and roll preacher because he is. He's got that
Yes.
sort of very assertive rock and roll preacher persona.
Yes. And Sour Grain is interesting. It's like one of the last Marriott Frampton co-writes. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it's a real blues soul stomper. It's got the
Yes.
mix of the blues and the soul. So maybe I'll say Marriott Blues, Frampton Soul put
Yes.
together.
Very good. Yes, very much so. Yes. How about
Yeah.
79th and Sunset? What's your take on that one?
Oh, they just love those honky tonk saloon songs. They're all the way through their
Yes.
catalog, aren't they?
They do. They
Uh,
do.
get out the acoustic, strident guitar, 12 bar blues. And his delivery is very tongue in cheek. Lyrics probably don't stand up in 2025, a little bit misogynistic about groupie girls and hustlers.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Yes.
you know, I won't quote the lyrics, but they're there, but they're very much of their day.
Yes.
And then you got the doo wop chorus and tasty guitar
The
from Frampton.
shooby-doo-wah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. Right.
So I guess if you can forgive the lyrics and just go with the flow, it's a tasty track.
Yeah, yeah, and like you said, they sort of like those you're right, they do kind of go back to the sort of country blues kind of thing, like back porch country blues vibe, a lot, quite a bit.
Yeah, having a whiskey sour at 11 p.m. in a bar, and got the
Yeah,
upright piano, a little bit out of tune playing. That's
totally.
what I can envision, and I can hear a lot of these. A lot of these tracks are in these humble pie ones. But
Absolutely. And yeah.
the next one, Stone Cold Fever, Marriott has this wonderful vibrato in his voice, doesn't he?
Oh God, his
And
vocal. Oh my God, yeah.
Glenn Johns really gets the reverb out to really amplifies it. So
Mhm.
um, this song I can see as a prototype for Kiss. I can
Okay.
hear where Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons were thinking, oh, listening to that and putting together songs like Cold Gin.
Yeah,
Because I was listening to this album and the next one, I'm thinking, wow, I can see where Kiss got their sound, that those early tracks. What
yeah,
do you think?
yeah. Oh, I agree. They were listening to Humble Pie, there's no doubt. And I think they were really enjoying these records and going, especially like you said, these riff heavy songs like Stone Cold Fever. Uh and I mean that whole like, the way like you said, the way that Marriott sings it, that Stone Cold. I mean, you can almost hear Paul Stanley kind of aping that, or trying to get that, you know?
Absolutely. I've got to put a
Um,
shout out to Jerry Shirley and his drum fills.
oh yeah.
Really an interesting drummer, very underrated. I don't, he doesn't get spoken about other than, drum aficionados, but I think he should be really well known. His drumming is phenomenal on these albums.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
the song has an interesting midsection. It kind of it goes well. It starts off with traditional blues or that heavy hard rock traditional blues, and then halfway through the song, it goes all Santana,
Yes, it
jazzy,
does.
a
Yeah,
bit loose, a bit freeform,
almost
and I'm
jazzy,
going,
yes.
yeah, what's that all about?
Yeah. Again, it's kind of Rolling Stonesy. It's like we're like, "Can't You Hear Me Knocking" goes kind of Santana-esque at times. That middle section. So but you're right. It kind of does that. That's what I love about Frampton and the band. He has that jazzy style, that jazzy lead style. And it's like all of a sudden, it's like you said, all of a sudden they make a left turn on this song. And you're like, what's happening? And you're like, oh my God, like all of a sudden it went from this sort of like meat and potatoes down, 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 down to like this sort of jazzy thing, which is cool, you know?
Absolutely. So, and that may have confused a lot of listeners. That's why they may not have reached the status of the Stones or Zeppelin, because those two bands had very distinctive sounds. You knew who they were, but this band, Humble Pie, were a mixture of so many different types of subgenres or different types of music, and it kind of may have confused the listener, because we've just gone through a couple of tracks and there's a bit of variety here, isn't there?
Yes, yes, already on the first side, there's a lot of variety, absolutely. And no, but I love Stone Cold Fever, man. I just love it. I just think it's like I think it's prime time humble pie. It's so good.
It's one of their top tracks. What do you think of Rolling Stone or Rolling Stone, the old Muddy Waters? Now, this is definitely they're
Yes.
picking up Zeppelin, but they're giving
Yes.
credit to Muddy Waters instead of putting their names on it,
Right.
and
Thank
saying
you. Yes.
and saying this is a Humble Pie song. At least they're giving their dues to the writer of.
Right. They're not saying this is a Frampton Marriott song or a Page Plant. They're saying Muddy Waters. So at least they're giving credit where it's due.
Absolutely.
And they don't get sued later like Zeppelin does. But Rolling Stone, yeah, I mean, there you go. They're really digging deep into the blues. Here we go. And you mentioned Led Zeppelin early in this episode, and here we go. This is. There's no doubt that they're kind of doing the Led Zeppelin template here, by taking a traditional old blues song and really rocking it up for modern day. That's Led Zeppelin. That's what they were doing. So, but I think they do a great job of it. I mean, it's like, holy, I mean, and we have to remember that Robert Plant was an early fan of Steve Marriott. He would go to early Small Faces gigs and he was like a groupie. He was into it. And apparently the whole, this is for another episode, but the whole way down inside. I mean, that came from Steve Marriott originally. So apparently.
So the
So
influencer takes over the influenced,
it's
or
exactly.
whatever the
It's all
way.
blurred. It's the lines are blurred. I can't see who's
Yeah,
who's who. Yeah.
the apprentice takes over. So, but,
Yes.
oh look, this is so Zeppelin. You just listen to. I mean, if you, folks, if you don't know Humble Pie and you listen to this song, you go, "Oh, this is a Zeppelin track. I'm not familiar with this." But
Yes. Exactly.
uh,
Right.
but
Yes.
Marriott's vocals when he sings, "I am a Rolling Stone," you believe it.
Oh
He
my God,
really,
man.
he's the rock and roll preacher. And
Yes.
Frampton's guitar lines, they're really interesting. They go in angles, they follow the melody, and then they go off on a tangent. So he's a very underrated guitarist. And
Yes.
I'd love to listen to the isolated guitar tracks on
Oh
this
God.
album.
I would too.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
We need to go Rick Beato and just go to an insert and listen to the isolated guitar lines on this album because they're
Yes.
fascinating.
No, it's true. You're absolutely right. I love that you mentioned that he's an underrated guitar player because it's true. It's like there was an interplay between. I mean, Frampton's a great guitar player, obviously, but Steve is underrated. Like Steve can play, and I agree
100%.
with you. I'd love to hear those isolated. I'd love to hear what he's doing specifically. But
Absolutely.
man, yeah, his vocals on this are just incendiary. I mean, just unbelievable, just so good.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. So,
And then he can do a song like a song for Jenny,
mhm.
which starts off as this quiet ballad, a bit of country. You got the pedal steel, which I just absolutely melt. And then it swings into this rousing gospel song. I
Right,
mean, this is
right.
a real palate cleanser of a song, but they'll throw one out of the bag. You think that the album's going in one direction and it's going to be a traditional hard rock interpretation of the blues, and then they'll pull something like a song for Jenny.
Yeah, you keep mentioning this, and I didn't really think about this when I was listening to the album again for this episode. It's like they do a lot of left turns in these songs where Song for Jenny starts out as a very folky acoustic, say, thing, and he's writing it for his wife because he's on the road so much and he says, "What do you think of me when I'm on the road for so long? For I ain't been home," and then that whole ain't been home in weeks, all of a sudden it turns into like you said, a gospel jam out of nowhere. But it works. It kind of works for me. And then he does the whole. They're playing around where he does the coo it, the or yell it. Oh yeah, and then he's ooh ooh or whatever. It's just like they're playing at the end. It's really fun.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
think so many rock or hard rock vocalists have been inspired by Marriott, and they probably don't even know.
Yeah, exactly. So we seeing into the light, which is a Frampton tune. I remember thinking that this was sort of a weaker track on the album, but what's funny is that again when I was doing the homework for this, I was like, oh yeah, I do like this song. Like it's kind of a catchy tune. It stays in my head.
Yeah, look, I think Frampton's guitar lines cut through. They're very dominant. It has a slightly gospel chorus feel because there are a few voices on the track, but I don't think it's entirely memorable or hooky. So I'd probably go with your first opinion of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we'll move on. It's a lightweight Frampton song. And I think this is the stuff, to your point, this is the stuff they were moving away from. This was the kind of thing that was like, I mean, it's not like totally acoustic, but it's kind of mellower. Anyway. So yeah, Big George is next, which is a Greg Ridley song. And again, showing the democratic version, nature of this band. Greg Ridley has a song on here, the bass player.
Well, the Who with John playing bass. He always had Boris the Spider or one track per album. So I think Greg
Right.
Ridley puts his hand up and goes like,
I've got one.
"Can I? I've got to have one."
Yeah.
And it's a bit second division, really.
Yeah, it's not.
It's he's trying to tell a story about a big thug, Big George, who was fearless and intimidating. Ridley's voice has got this heavily accented voice. It's pleasant, but it's not memorable like this song.
Yeah, agreed. It's pretty lightweight. Definitely feels second tier for sure. Strange Days is kind of like a I don't know, it's sort of Strange Days is another one where it sort of feels a little bit jammy, like maybe a sort of a jam that they turned into a song. I mean, this one's also a kind of lightweight, in my opinion, as far as writing's concerned.
Santana again, a little bit
Yeah.
of the jazzy instrumental. You've got Marriott on the on Tinkling the Ivories, some tasty guitar work with Frampton counterpointing. Again, Marriott's got this real reverb vibrato. It's a real intimate vocal. It makes you listen to each word, and he really pushes the upper range with the controlled power. But
Mhm.
again, it's I think they've been listening to a bit of Santana.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I never thought of the Santana connection. That's interesting. That's new for me. Now you're opening my mind to the Santana connection. I think you're absolutely right.
Are you
Uh
a Santana fan?
I am. I do man, absolutely. Yes, I like Santana quite a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's one to explore because a lot of folk, when they think of Santana, think of the later works, the Grammy Award winning collaboration album. But
Right.
people forget the classic, like Santana was shit hot. They were huge
Oh
in the
god.
late 60s and early 70s.
Oh my god. Yeah, when Neil Schon was in the band.
Absolutely. They were first division.
Yeah, they
You know.
were. They were absolutely. No question. I don't I
But
don't
don't get
I don't think of
but
Rob
don't get
Thomas when
so
I think of, you know.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
that kind of erased their classic rock chops, didn't it? So
yeah.
when you go to a classic rock station and they go, "Oh, let's play Santana," they'll play that Rob Thomas song, and
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
old stuff is forgotten.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a
Yeah.
shame, really.
It is a shame. Absolutely. So yeah, so then we end it with Redneck Jump, which is kind of just like a little piece of fun, I guess. It sounds like they're just having fun.
A really odd song to finish. They finish up with a doo wop. Again, the honky tonk comes out.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
doing the 50s rocker. It's not memorable, and it's a really odd way to close the album. I thought that, I don't know if I like the track listing on this album. I would have finished off the album with a real epic finale that would have wanted me aching for more.
Yeah, like
But
a
they
Rolling
just do this,
Stone or something. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
finish off with a sort of a little trivial track. So
Yeah, what
yeah,
is that?
it's a
The
bit
oop
of a
up, shoo waddy waddy oop shop, shoo wah.
yeah.
What is 50s doo wop or something? Like, what is going on here? Yeah. So I mean, it's fun, but it's a weird way, like you said, it's very, very odd way to end the album.
It sounds like they run out of songs, and maybe this
Yes,
was one they
yes,
did a couple of takes, and oh, we've got to fill it just to fill the album. So yeah,
yes.
bit of an odd one. This
Yeah, I agree. That's a great way to say it. Sounds like they ran out of songs. I think you're right. I think they did because it
yeah,
really feels so. It's funny when we talk through this. I'm realizing this album's sort of front loaded. You know?
it is, and
Yeah.
there is a bit of filler.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So that takes us to the next record, Smokin', which is their fifth studio record. So I have to, we mentioned this already, but they had between Rock On, after Rock On, they did an album called Humble Pie Rock in the Fillmore, which did very well. Double live album. We already talked about this, but it did very well, and it really launched them into American success. And this is after years of hitting it hard and touring and playing live. I mean, they played live a ton, and Peter decides to leave, and it's funny because he talks about it in his book. He says, "I left the band, and then they released Rock in the Fillmore, and it goes racing up the charts." He's like, "Oh my god, what did I just do? Like, why did I leave? I just left right when they succeeded."
I
Um,
think I think Peter did okay.
he did fine. He did fine. Yeah, he did fine, but I think he said he had a little bit of a panic moment, but he said he got over it kind of quick because he's like, I really want to pursue my own vision. So he was like, it's fine, whatever. I'm still happy to be a solo artist. So, and like you said, he ended up doing more than fine. So Humble Pie continues. They hire a new guitarist called Clem Clemson, and they make a new album called Smokin', which is their fifth studio record, released March 1972, exactly a year after Humble Pie. They really cranked the records out back then. Um, Recorded in February 72 at Olympic again in London with no Glyn Johns this time. which I find interesting because I heard an interview with Glenn Johns and he said something. He was sort of dismissive of Humble Pie. He said they said, "Oh, you worked with Humble Pie one time too," and he goes, "Yeah." Yeah, it was kind of a crappy album or something. And I was like, "Whoa!" Like he was really dismissive of them. I think he was a very big Small Faces guy. He loved the Small Faces. I think he wasn't happy that they broke up. But anyway, it reached number 6 on the U.S. charts on the Billboard 200. That's high. Number 20 in the UK and in your home country, number 9 in Australia. So there you
Yeah,
go.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, this album, again, you've got the Stones, Exile on Main Street sound, early Zeppelin, but I'll throw another in the ring, Sly and the Family Stone. There's a little bit of that real Sly Stone
Ooh,
R&B in this.
gonna take you
And
higher. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So there's a lot more. I think the soul and the R&B elements are really pushed up in this one.
Yeah.
And it's easy to see how this album became a huge hit. More
Yeah.
so because of one song that's still played on classic rock radio, and we'll get to that.
Right. Right. Exactly. So yeah. So what is your take on the record in general? I mean, do you feel like this is a strong comeback after Peter leaves? Would you say
Oh,
that?
absolutely. I think it pops out of the speaker. I think they're really, as I said, ramping up their R&B and groove on it, and the band are firing. So I think let's go into the songs, and that'll be the way to navigate, I think, through this album.
Absolutely. So it starts out strong, in my opinion, with Hot and Nasty. I mean,
Well, it's got cowbell, and there's something about cowbell on the radio. It's like nada. Look at all the classic rock hits of the '70s, cowbell. So the
yes. Yeah.
cowbell is out on Hot and Nasty. It's got an R&B groove, and you've got the '70s Marriott organ, bit of
Oh,
Sly and the
yes.
Family Stone.
Yes. That organ is like all over this record. It's so good.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
Marriott goes for the high vocal, and as Paul Stanley says, he's the rock and roll preacher. So
Yes.
this one is a great opening track. This really pops out. Um, they've let the bull out of the gate.
Oh, absolutely. And Marriott, again, Marriott on the top of his game vocally. I mean, it's very, I mean, after I listened to this, again, doing my homework for this, I'm going, man, Smokin', maybe this is like his height of vocal. I mean, it's like he is just killing it on this record, all over it. So Hot and Nasty is no exception. He's just, like you said, he's at the top of his register and he's like this whole song and he's belting and it sounds fantastic. So yeah, so what a great
Yeah,
opener.
absolutely,
Yeah, and
absolutely
and I
on
love that
fire.
it's Hot and Nasty is I mean, they're really going for this sort of like down and dirty rock. Like we're just gonna hit it hard. And we're gonna embrace this down and dirty rock and roll thing.
Well, they're making a statement. It's a statement of intent. And that's
Yes.
what you want on a first track. You don't want something that's a little bit restrained. You really got to let it out of the gates. And yeah, I think it's a great opening track. And it
Yeah.
makes you want to listen to more.
Absolutely. And sure enough, the Fixer is next, and the Fixer is like another like boom, like it's almost like it's 1-2 punch. Like I love the Fixer.
And it's got cowbell. Well, I think I hear it cowbell.
Cowbell again.
And yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's musical nana in the '70s. Get out the cowbell.
Yeah.
It's got that rolling, slow riff blues, and he gets out the vibrato in the voice, a little bit of Robert Plant, when you get "I'm a
Yes.
backdoor man."
Yep.
This is another song where I can see Kiss base their early '70s output or their template in those first couple of albums. Those first two albums, they were definitely listening to the Fixer.
Oh, for sure. No question, no question. But I love it. It's down and again down and dirty rock. But those man, and it just sounds good. That's another thing about this album. Sonically, it was recorded at Olympic. It sounds fantastic. Like the guitars are just like chef's kiss. They're sonically they sound great. They're not too shrill. They're nice and right in the pocket. They just sound so good.
I think the production on this album is actually better than the previous with Glenn Johns.
Yeah, I know, which
So
is interesting,
I
right?
mean, I mean, Glenn dissed the band. Maybe he wasn't focused. Maybe he was doing some other stuff. But
Yeah.
the production, I think, is two and a half times better.
No, I agree. I agree. So we move into like more of the soul, right? You're so good to me, which you're so good for me, sorry. And man, this is like soul, like R&B soul. What's your take on this track?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's all part of the mixture, isn't it? Blues, soul, and his vocals are just, I think it's one of the best vocals on the album. What do you think?
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, no, he's just and I think doesn't Ridley start singing this? I think he starts because they do a lot of vocal trade-offs, and I think Ridley starts, but then Steve comes in, and it's like, oh my god, it's like, whoa. Yeah, he's on the top of his games, no question.
And yeah, all across the album, I think the producer's trying these different vocal tricks with Marriott that makes it quite interesting. Like some tracks will have reverb, sometimes his vocals are a little bit a bit behind, and the instruments are pushed up in front. Um, that's what I like about the production on this one. He's trying different things. I think I can sort of sense that he's throwing things at the band. Yeah, let's try that. Let's try that, and that makes it interesting for the listener.
Yeah, and I think Steve gets inspired by these slow burn like R&B, he that's his like wheelhouse. Like he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna smoke this vocal. Like watch this," and he gets excited and does it.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So then we go into "Come On Everybody," which is one of the first songs I ever heard by Humble Pie. It's an Eddie Cochran cover of sorts that they slow kind of way down and make it this really like heavy rock thing that Humble Pie does so well. And again, another fan. I know we're just saying this over and over again, but the vocal just another amazing vocal. What's your
And I
take?
know I'm saying it again and again. Kiss.
Yeah.
This
Yep.
song has got to be a template for Kiss, and I actually can hear a little bit of the boogie because it's boogie rock with a touch of blues. I can actually hear a little bit of AC/DC,
Yeah. Yeah.
in the
Fair enough.
guitar lines.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
because AC/DC can kind of boogie sometimes. They have a lot of boogie in their rock, right? They swing.
yeah, musically, I mean, it's simple, keeps it very linear, but what elevates this song is the drum fills of Jerry Shirley. They're really busy.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, he fills the space to make the song much more advanced than it probably is. So I
No,
love this.
no, and
Yeah,
I love that you mentioned Jerry Shirley's playing and how underrated he is. I do think that he's such a great, like, in the pocket. He's right in that groove spot, and he does he does these fills that are perfect, and he's like a meat and potatoes guy, but he's powerful. Like he plays very powerfully. You know, it's he's a great drummer.
yeah, it needs to be spoken about, and he does these unusual fills. If he wants to do a fill on a tom, um, he will do it. But it just adds a lot more weight to some of these songs.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. So then we end side 1 with this, back porch, country blues thing again, that they love so much. So what do you think of the
Uh,
ending of this one?
well, the saloon piano gets wheeled out to the porch,
Yep.
and you got the acoustic guitar, and you got the bluesy wail. Again, it's like 11 p.m. in a bar having a whiskey in the hand sort of song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if
Late
you like
night,
that
3 in
sort
the
of
morning
stuff.
at the bar, closing up. Yeah. Yep.
If you like that sort of stuff.
If you
But
like
it's
the if
all the way through the. It's all the way they love throwing these ones, don't they?
if that's your thing, if that's your thing. Yeah. So yeah, so that ends side 1. So we go on to side 2 with, I mean, oh my God, 30 Days in the Hall, which just man, one of the signature Humble Pie songs. Yeah.
Well, I've got a confession. That song been in my head over the last month since we've been doing this assignment. It just sticks. I can't get it
It
out of my head.
does. It's
I love
hooky.
this song. It is, and
Yeah.
it's their best song.
30
Um,
days in the hole. Yeah, I mean, it's just
I can imagine the Stones, Jagger or Richards would have heard this and thought, "Oh, I would have
like, I
liked to have
like
written
that.
that one." Yeah, I do. This This could fit on Exile on Main Street easily, couldn't it?
Oh, No question. This could easily fit on Exile, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, like you said, I love how they start with the playful. They're like rehearsing they sort of, and they're laughing, and it's just, I love that sort of little like audio verite at the beginning of it.
Rhythmically, it feels like a Stones song. Vocally, even the vocal intonations, the storytelling, I love it. I
Yeah,
think it's
was
their
it
best song.
Newcastle Brown sure can slap you down? What is that? Something like a. It's. I love the vocals are great, or the lyrics. The lyrics are great.
And the lyrics are compelling. It's basically he was arrested for possession of marijuana, and he's turning this little tale into something big, like an epic song. This is the song that gets played on classic rock radio to this day. Would that be the case in the States?
Yes, yeah, you still hear it. You still hear it. But I do laugh though when I hear the what is it? You take a greasy whore and a rolling dance floor, you're jailhouse bound, or I'm like, oh my God. This is quite the lyric. Um, but yeah. So again, the down and dirty rock thing that they're going for and they're hitting it. But this song they're hitting it out of the park. I like you said, it just sticks. This song does stick in your head. You can't help it. And I remember I saw Government Mule did a version of this song, so I thought it was really cool. They kind of slowed it down a little bit. And I was like, oh my God, they're doing humble pie. This is so cool. So anyway,
Yeah, I was talking to a few people. I was talking to Reed Little of the Contrarians, and I said, "Do you know Humble Pie?" And he goes, "No, not really, but I do like that song, 30 Days in the Hole." So even
yes,
to non-fans, there's an awareness of this song.
yes, absolutely. It's a big one. It's a big one for them. So then it goes into Roadrunner G Jam, which in the title it says it's a jam. And it's kind of like this is sort of like taking a song, and again, it's sort of like a cover that they take and kind of make their own, but it's a sort of a jam on that song. And then, so this one's all right.
This
I mean, I like the jam, but it is a jam. So, but
Yeah, it does. The song's allowed to breathe. They're playing their parts. Everyone's taking their time to shine. This was a hit song by Junior Walker and the All Stars.
right, right, yes, yeah.
And the bottom end is so, I mean, that bottom end with the bass and drums is so in the pocket.
That rhythm, you're right. That rhythm section on this song is like they are killing it. There's no doubt. Yeah, so it's enjoyable. Like it's a jam, but I do enjoy listening to it. I really do. And the live versions I've heard are really, really excellent of this too. So, and
You
and,
know what it
and oh, and
reminded
the
me?
organ too. The organ on this too. I love the organ. So,
Oh, yeah, I love
yeah,
his organ playing, but you know what it reminded me of? All Things Must Pass. You know when they had a side four where they do jams, like Apple Scruffs or whatever,
yeah,
and, they're just, like, jamming for 10 to 15 minutes? It felt like that.
yes, the apple jams. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Like past the pepperoni or whatever those are called, something like that. Yeah, so yeah, I agree. That's a good comparison. I like that. Um, so then we go to another slow kind of this is just like slow, smoky blues kind of vibe. I wonder. I mean, and again, oh my God, the vocal on this, holy moly. No one else can do this, you know?
This is way hot. This is probably my second favorite, other than 30 Days.
Yeah.
This is a blues cover masterpiece. Um,
Yeah.
it's a vocal masterclass. He's giving Percy Plan a real run for his money, isn't he? And we haven't spoken about Clemson. He's
No.
a great guitarist. His vocal, sorry, not vocal. His guitar licks are sublime. They
Yes.
cut through, they weave under and through Marriott's voice. Uses a little bit of wah, and it's got a show-stopping solo. There's so
Oh my
much
God.
light. I love the dynamics, light and shade.
Yeah,
I
Clem's
love.
touch on this is like pretty awesome. I mean, and his tone and his touch and the ways what he's doing, you're like, man, this guy can play,
Yeah,
you
and the
know?
harmonica has a kind of a southern gothic feel atmosphere.
Yes.
I I reckon this is like humble. Look, even though this is a cover,
Mm.
um, the way they've interpreted this, it's sort of like humble pie since I've been loving you. It's
That's
like they're
wow.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. I love it. That's a great I even again, you're bringing up stuff I hadn't thought of, but yes, that's absolutely, and it's that slow smoking blues, like, just kind of like, you're waiting for it to explode, but it never quite does, and it's just but he's still killing it on the vocal, and like you're the harmonica, I forgot about his harmonica playing. His harmonica playing is pretty awesome, you
Yeah,
know?
well, you've got that real southern states of America gothic feel. Love it, love
Yeah.
it. I think this is one of the best tracks on the album.
Prime time, prime time. So yeah, and then we end with Sweet Peace and Time, which I think is a great way. I mean, we talked about the kind of a weak, weird closer for the last record. I think this closer is excellent.
Yeah, it's an up-tempo finish. Clemson's got virtuoso guitar. Look, a little bit of trivia. Do you know Clemson auditioned for Deep Purple? So when Richie
Oh,
left the band in '75, Clemson was one of the first guitarists that was auditioning pre Come Taste the Band. He wasn't the right fit, but I've got a bootleg of Deep Purple, Days May Come, Days May Go, and that's when they have Tommy Bolin playing, and you can see Tommy was going to get the the band, and they actually play Sweet Peace and Time, the riff.
you're kidding.
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit of trivia. So if any folks have that bootleg, and it was released through the Deep Purple archive, it's a CD. You can actually hear the riff of Sweet Peace and Time.
That's
So
cool.
they must have been carrying that on when they had Clem. Um, he apparently played with the band for about 3 or 4 days, but just didn't quite fit. But I, the band may have kicked on because Tommy was a. Sorry, I'm hogging this conversation. I'm
No, no,
taking it to
go
a
go
different
ahead, go
direction.
ahead.
But
No,
with Tommy being personality, being a heroin addict, and all these sort of addiction problems, you could see the band had a limited lifespan. But with Clem in the band, might have gone in a whole different direction. Might have squeezed a couple of more albums out. So a little
yeah.
bit of interesting trivia.
No, you're right, because Tommy, obviously, we all know Tommy had problems, and he was a very talented musician, but he had issues, and like that's a great point. That they could have made more records, and maybe who knows what it would have happened. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So it's just when I was revisiting this album and listening to this, and I said that riff is really familiar. And then I went to the sort of the jam sessions of that pre Come Taste the Band, and the band are playing it.
yeah, that's cool. That's a piece of information I didn't know, so that's interesting. Um, so yeah, so there you go. I mean, I think this is a really strong track to end the record. I just think it's a great riff. Very it kind of sticks in your head. It's a rocker. It's a great like up and up, up way to end the record. Yeah.
It is. It's up tempo, and that's how you want it. You want it. It swings. Marriott's vocals are higher. He's doing the rock preacher. He's pleading. You know,
Yes. Absolutely. So there you go. I mean, that's Smokin'. That's we just did the whole record. So there it is, and very strong album. So yeah, so we here at Curless Mania, we go through the records, and then it just comes to this awkward point where I have to ask the guest to pick one of these. So I think it's come to that time, Peter.
smoking touchdown.
I knew that
Yeah.
was coming.
I
I knew
yeah,
it.
I think Smokin' is all round from top to bottom a stronger album. There's not really any filler tracks, whereas the album that precedes it kind of tapers off on side two. There's a little bit of a yeah, goes down. So, but I think Smokin' is arguably it's probably their best album.
Yes, and it's a classic. I mean, it's a humble pie classic for a reason, as we always say. And I have to, as I was going to make this a game time decision, because I do love both of these records. I even love some of the rock on, even the songs that are sort of weaker. I still sort of really enjoy, but I have to give it to Smokin' as well. I can't not give it to Smokin' because you're right. There's something about it. There just feels like it feels like even with a new member that just came into the band, it feels like there's this consolidation of sorts that kind of just happens on this record. And it just feels so strong. And it feels like Steve is just at his height. And he wants to make this. He wants to. I don't know. He's just there's this energy on this record that's just undeniable, and it's even the songs that are sort of jammy feel like they have purpose and drive. And so yeah, as much as I love Rock On, because I really do love Rock On, and I love Peter Frampton, and I love the original lineup, so I'm kind of torn on this one. But I have to give it to Smokin with this battle. When we talk through it, I was like, you're right, Smokin's stronger. It just is.
Yeah, top to bottom, better. I think the arrangements, the playing, the energy, the production. It,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a points victory.
Yep. Yep. So there you go, people. What do you think? I mean, what's your take? We want to know. Do you maybe some people are just gonna come on here and go, man, you guys are nuts. I Rock On is the album. Like that's the one. Who knows? So we all hear things differently. So we want to know what your opinion is. So let us know. And Peter, this has been so much fun as usual. Thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely, we should do it again sometime.
We will. I mean, I'm definitely up for it if you are. So, for sure,
Sure.
for sure. So, thank you so much. And if you don't, if you haven't checked out Rock Daydream Nation, you definitely need to. Is there anything you'd like to
Yeah.
plug on that, Peter?
Oh, look, there's lots of interviews. I did an interview with Cherie Curry of the Runaways, which is really worth giving a bit of a look. And lots of, I mean, if you like Deep Purple and classic rock, lots of stuff. There's always shows, at least two a week. Check it out.
Absolutely. A lot of content. If you're going to hit something that you like. So, but yes, Peter does an excellent job. So check out his channel.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, and thank you so much for watching. If you stuck with us this long, you must be a big Humble Pie fan. So thank you. We appreciate you. Thanks to all my subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that button, please, and hit the like button. It helps everybody's channel. They want subscribers. So please hit it. And thank you so much, everyone, and we will see you next time on Curless Mania. See ya.
See you later.